Geek Variants. We are going to grade your first round pick. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Sports and
Shenanigans.
Almost caught him sleeping. And as he usually does in his other videos, I'm going to remember at the beginning of the video, be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And be sure to check out all the other amazing content our draft guru has been dropping for y'all. Got some great stuff as long as Moon Knight.
You going to stop taking shots at me, though?
He's like, you're gonna learn today. All right. So we talked pre-show. I'll be covering the odd picks. Tony will be talking about the even picks. I'm very odd. I mean, how else do you end up hanging out with you and Will at the same time and surviving? You gotta adapt.
Well, being submissive helps.
Unnecessary, and I don't have time to refute any of these shenanigans on air. But that's what we do here. All about the shenanigans. Speaking of shenanigans, let's talk about some Georgia shenanigans. I mean,
first of all,
God, round
15 total players. The most in the modern day area. Texas still owns the record, though, at 17, but that was more than 7 rounds, so we don't count that.
And how many first rounders y'all got?
5. And Singh was unexpected. I didn't expect that.
I expected Singh to be a second rounder, but the Vikings have been doing some interesting stuff in the draft, but we'll get there when we get there. I'll start off with the Georgia boy, number 1 overall. Guess who called that, folks? Guess who called that? This guy, our draft guru. Not Kuiper, not any of those
first of all
special people. Tony called that pick.
Kuiper has been I ain't gonna say, never mind. Garbage, trash.
You got so many things to say about him. I got him all fired up down there. But Trayvon Walker, number 1 overall to the Jaguars. Love the selection. It works for them. He can play outside linebacker. He can play D-end. He wants to go after the quarterback more because he didn't get a chance to do it as much as he would have liked when he was at Georgia. But you guys were so
That's because the quarterback was usually on the ground, though. He was usually on the ground when he got back there.
So Trayvon Walker, superb athlete, exceptionally smart guy, great pick for Jacksonville, and it means a lot to him because his family's 4 hours away from where he's playing now, so he is staying close to home, which for a lot of people means a lot. Next pick, Tony
Hutchinson. I did call that he was still going to be a top pick, even though his last game wasn't his best game, and we saw what happens when he go up against a real defense. I mean, a real offense. Hopefully that doesn't translate to the NFL for him. I think that he still will be successful. I think it was still a great pick for Detroit because they needed an edge rusher. And if they couldn't get Walker, Hutchinson would be the next best thing.
Yeah. So,
but I mean,
now for this number 3 pick.
Hey,
this is the mess up pick of mess up picks. Number 3.
That's the shenanigans.
Y'all messed up. How do you take Stingley over Sauce? I know LSU is producing DBU, but any intelligent college football fan would have told you Sauce is leagues better than Stingley is. Unequivocally, hands down.
I wouldn't say
better. Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's talk about both
sitting out a year means you're better than a guy who's allowed less yards in a season than any quarterback in a long time.
First, let's combine these picks since they back to back, and we're gonna talk about both of them. Yes, Sauce Gardner has not given up a touchdown in 3 years. I understand that, but when Stingley played, if he'd came out last year, he would have been the number 1 cornerback off the board. Period. He would have been the top 5 pick.
What have you
done?
A
top
for me
5
lately?
pick. The only reason I did put Sauce above Stingley is because Stingley was injured. But again, if you look at who Stingley played against, that's 8 overtime bonanza against Texas A&M alone showed you that he got the endurance to play at the NFL because Even though he gave up the winning touchdown, but this dude was gassed. He did not leave the best receiver all game long. That's what they were looking at. Can I fault them for that? I cannot. If I had my choice, I take Sauce over Stingley this year, but only this year. If it was last year, I would take Stingley just because. So I can't say that Sauce is head and shoulders just de facto that much better than Stingley. I can say he's better, but it's not a big gap. Is he a third? Is he, can he be, is he good at 3? I wouldn't have took him at 3.
Nope.
I would have took Sauce, but that's for this year. If we're talking about just their total careers, Sauce didn't give up a touchdown, but Stingley played against better competition and we're doing the exact same thing. So either one is a fine, but it's still Houston. Houston is going to suck no matter what. So Stingley has time to get healthy because they're not going to be good anytime soon. Sauce, on the other hand, while they're not a good team, they're not as bad as Houston. And we can agree on that.
I don't even like the Jets. I can agree on that.
Especially after this draft, we'll talk about it in another show. So,
but also, I will say Sauce, in Salah's defense, that's good. That is good.
So yeah, I can't be mad at either way they picked. I cannot understand it, of course. But can you go wrong with either one if they're both healthy? That's the thing. If they're both healthy, I don't think Stingley is healthy. So, but we'll see.
Healthy enough to sit out a whole year and let your school down? I don't know.
I think he was hurt last year, so I don't think he really had a choice. But
moving on to number 5, Kayvon Thibodeau. I mean, as much as I do not want to like this pick, I really like this.
You gotta like it
at that spot. I don't like the Giants. They took 2 rings from us fairly, and this reeks of the stuff that they did to beat us. Build the edge. And Thibodeau, that's a solid monster. You just let him go after some quarterbacks, it's gonna be a rough time for those quarterbacks in the division. Good luck seeing him twice a year. Next.
All right, let's move on to 6, which this is the division rival for me. So I hate that they got this guy, and he's going to be a problem for us, mainly because our defense sucks. But is he a solid pick for them? I might have went a different way because I did have some offensive linemen rated higher. It was a couple that I thought were rated higher than him, not just by me, but other sources also rated a couple other linemen higher. It's not a bad pick at 6. I think they could have got more at that. But that's me. I hope you're a bust. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. You're a rival now. You got to feel the hate, dude. I'm sorry.
This level of pettiness will continue as I have to go for the Giants again.
Yep.
And again for the pick that they got at the time that they got it. I think that's the best tackle for their system. He's not necessarily the best tackle in the draft, but he is.
I think he's a better offensive lineman than number 6. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but he is head and shoulders one of the best linemen we've seen come out in a while. Neal and Cross were fighting for that one spot all the way throughout because their level of competition is higher than anything Ekwonu has gone against. The only tape everyone's sold on Ekwonu is when he played Hutchinson. And he didn't do that bad.
I mean, Hutchinson so far is 1-1 against these players. So
it's the Giants, they killed this draft. They killed these 2 picks right here. You can make a whole draft with 2 first-rounders getting your franchise D-end and your franchise tackle back-to-back. Let's talk about those dirty birds.
Do we have to? Can we just skip and go to
No, you 9? Have to talk about the dirty birds. These are your guys. You are repping all the gear in the background. You walked directly into this knowing what you want to talk about.
Let me just say, I understand why they did it. Because honestly, if they didn't, I don't think we would have got one of the top tier running wide receivers that I wanted. We would have been stuck with Sky Moore or somebody, but like, nah. I myself wanted Jameis from Alabama. That's who I wanted, or maybe get Michi in the second. But I'm not gonna lie, when they made this pick, I was angry. And then when I start seeing how they were drafting, I started to understand what they were doing. And they're saying Drake is healthy, and he's being compared to Mike Evans in Tampa, which if you give us a Mike Evans to put along with Pitts, along with Cordell Patterson, that's it. It's not a world beater, but it's not as bad as it was last year. We did have the worst wide receiver room in the NFL coming into the draft. So, do I like this pick? No, but I understand the need for the pick. So, I understand what Terry's doing. Terry, do your thing. I got faith in you for now. But
next year, he'll talk about it.
Next year, let me see the draft next year. But I like it's okay. It's not who I wanted, but I can see I wanted another guy that I'll talk about later.
The guy that you wanted, is he by chance the guy I'm about to talk about?
No.
He was very high on your board.
He was very high. The next two guys are the guys that either one I would have been fine with them picking.
Yeah, because Charles Cross you talked about him as the best tackle in the draft, period.
It was between him and Neal. That was it.
Like, either way, you ain't going to go wrong. It's like, and the more I looked at Cross, the more I was happier and happier with his film tape, with his highlights, how he performed at the combine. And then for Seattle to go out and get this man, they didn't.
After Russell Wilson go.
And it's like, it's about time they protected somebody.
But they don't have a quarterback, so it don't matter.
No one's going to say Drew Lock is the answer or Geno Smith. So this is your pick to build for the future. They'll be up high in the draft picks next year. I'll see you Bryce Young or Stroud next year. We'll see what's up with that. If they don't get Baker. But I like this pick with Charles Cross. Let's have you talk about the Jets again so I can avoid them.
That's fine, because like I said, I would rather them have, like, you know what I've always been saying, build the line. But if you want to get a skill player, I myself prefer Garrett Wilson over Drake London. I don't know why they wanted Drake, but the Jets picking up Garrett has now given them a number one CB, a cornerback, and a number one wide receiver. Because if anybody is seeing the Ohio State wide receivers, them boys are serious.
I mean, they went back to back.
They get after the ball. And this was a great pick by the Jets. I see what they're doing. Build your defense. Give your quarterback some help because he needs all the help he can get. So that's all. I mean, great pick by the Jets. I like what they did with their first two picks. And then I'll talk about the third pick later.
I'll talk about the Aints, your dreaded rivals.
Love-hate relationship.
They got Slant Route Jr. in Olave. This man's run after catch is impressive. He's going to be a problem for a lot of teams in that NFC South. A lot of teams can't match up with him. I don't know who's going to be throwing him the ball, but I really like Olave's upside. So it's going to work out well for him. He's got great route running. He's got great speed. He's got great skills. I personally had him as like the third best receiver in this draft. The guy who went after him, I would have loved to keep seeing fall down the board to my squad, but he was injured, so I get it. So Olave to the Aints, it's a solid pick. They're really saying that they are here to compete this year. Let's go back to Detroit.
Yes. Let's go back to Detroit and talk about their second pick. Is one of the receivers that I did want, only because I saw him up close and in person multiple times, and he destroyed us most of the times he played us. I just think I like that he did land in Detroit just because of his skill set. While he won't be the physical receiver that the Falcons wanted, he's going to open up those deep routes, and he's going to take the top off the defense. I think Detroit is going to be happy with this guy. And that's if he's back healthy from his injury. The words I've been hearing from the docs, that he is healthy, he's on track to play. That's all I want out of him. I want Detroit to be a better franchise. I'm tired of Detroit being a laughing stock. It's time for the Patriots to take that role over. So we'll see how this goes out. I'm rooting for Detroit. I think I think your 12th pick was better than your second pick. I'm just saying. I think Williamson is a better pick than Hutchinson.
Let's talk about another boy from Georgia who got drafted. The best defensive tackle off the board, Jordan Davis.
Period.
Like, I mean, you can't hate this pick. You put him next to Fletcher Cox. Yeah. Quarterbacks are not going to be really happy with that.
Can we just say he did like a ball of red stripe when he came out?
This is something worth talking about. But Jordan Davis, solid pick right here. This is absolutely solid pick. I don't have anything else to say about this. Move on to Baltimore.
All right, Kyle Hamilton. I'm going to say this was a great pick for them. I'm actually surprised he dropped this low, but I think he's in the best position he can be in because the history of Baltimore it's been their defense. Lately, they've gone away from that to try to concentrate on the offense. They need to get back to stick to their guns, their defense. Put Kyle Hamilton back there, let him run your defense. I think they'll be fine this year. They still need some more pieces that I think they picked up in this draft. So I'm thinking they might be turning the corner and getting back to their roots, post Cleveland.
And then I get to talk about these Texans who just straight up confound me with this pick. Kenyon Green is a solid player and he's a baller. But 15? 15 for this man? When you had a lot of good pieces still on the board? I'm not sold on this just as much as I'm not sold on the Stingley pick. He's a great guard. He will protect your quarterback. But you probably could have waited maybe around and he could have dropped. Like, I don't see him as a top 15 pick. Top 30, I get. But 15? Bit of a reach.
Yeah, I think you could have traded back and still got him. Picked up another second or third round pick. Traded back 5-6 spots. Might have worked out, might not, but so let's move on and talk about the Washington Cobra Commanders. While I do think they needed a wide receiver, I don't think Johan Dotson is the answer. To me, he's too much like McLaurin that they already have. Even though they have, Curtis Samuel, but he's not on the same league as Terry. I think they would have been better taking Treylon Burks instead of Tennessee ended up with him. I think that would have been better because you need your burn and you need a big body receiver. They needed a receiver guaranteed because they only got one, and this dude has had 8 different quarterbacks in his career. He's been there like 3 years. So I understand the pick. Was it the one I would have made? No, but we'll see how it works. I mean, you might just be running a speed offense now, so we'll see.
And then with the pick of Zion Johnson to the Chargers, I get what you're trying to do. I really get what you're trying to do.
I'm actually
but there's a guy 2 picks back would have fit better in the system that you are trying to build. But I ain't mad at you for this. If you're going on just sheer talent and just trying to upgrade the line, this man will do it. Zion can be that dude. I was more sold on Penning overall, but I ain't mad at Zion. Go to Tennessee.
Well, we already know why Tennessee made this pick. They basically replaced AJ, which I believe that was a shock that he actually got traded. I don't understand what you're doing here. You took away your second best offensive weapon because we know it's still Derrick Henry's squad, and we know Tannehill ain't that man. But you took away your best receiver because you brought Julio in to be a confident. That didn't work. Can you imagine if you'd had AJ and Treylon? Yeah, kind of the same, but Treylon's younger and faster. And in my opinion, he got better hands. So can you imagine that 1-2 punch and he's a rookie? So you trade him away. I mean, you could have literally kept AJ and took Jahan Dotson here and you'd have been set. You'd have been set.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I don't know why you traded me, but all right.
And then I get to talk about the Aints one more time just for good measure. And they took the best tackle that was left available. You drafted Olave at wide receiver, solid pick. You got Trevor Penning at tackle, solid pick.
We'll finish 3rd or 4th.
the Saints figured out how to get this draft done. And they got the pieces they wanted, the pieces that they were linked to, and they didn't make any uber crazy trades to get where they got. I like the draft. Next pick, they're the first quarterback.
You know, I was waiting on this one because all these experts and their mama, these couch GMs, these social media gurus were all saying, who was the best quarterback from Liberty? Willis was going to be picked the first quarterback overall. Willis was going to be a top 10. And who was the first quarterback to go to Pittsburgh of all places? Kenny Pickett. And let me just say, this is the perfect place for him to go. It's only because of the style of offense they run. It fits him. Yes, I understand he got that crazy dislocated hand or whatever his hand do when he's open, but he wear gloves. And then people are like, well, he's playing in cold weather. I'm like, do you not understand where he played college ball is the exact same stadium or where he's playing professional ball? Pittsburgh plays at Heinz Field along with, Pittsburgh. So how are you saying this is not going to work for him? He's proven that he can play in this type of environment. So what's the problem? I honestly think the Steelers nailed this. They know they needed a quarterback because nobody on their roster is a quarterback, in my opinion. We know their quarterbacks are garbage. He has a legitimate shot to be day one starter.
Could not go to a more patient organization. And now we got to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. Duffy.
Yo, boy.
From the University of Washington. I just can't avoid them Washington boys.
You can't. I'm loving it.
This was a solid pick. He's a great player. He played for the wrong school, but he was a phenomenal player. The Chiefs don't have anybody in their secondary, period, especially with Honeybacker just signing to the Aints. Yeah. McDuffie to the Chiefs. Good pick. I'm happy with what they did. Let's let you talk about the Georgia Green Bay Bulldogs.
Apparently, well, there's a running joke that Quay and the other Bulldog who's going to Green Bay don't have to change the logo, just the color, because it's literally the same logo. For those that don't know, the University of Georgia had to get permission from Green Bay to use that logo and just change the colors. This 100% to me was a shocker. I was literally expecting the Kobe Dean to go from 20 down somewhere in here. And then when they picked Quay, I was like, wait a minute, what are y'all doing? So, of course, I did some research and I understood why they did it. And I fully support it. While I think Nakobe overall is a better linebacker, I think what Quay brings to the table is better for Green Bay. He's more of this big, solid, run-stopping linebacker that they want. They want the guy that's going to get in there and, go head up with the offensive lineman. And that's what Quay does. Nakobe is the cleanup guy. He usually hits you on the outside. He'll run you down. Quay is more the physical of the two. And I like this pick for them. And I really think that it's going to work out. So while I was shocked and I was upset, I understand why they did it. So it was a solid pick by them. I'm solid.
And then I got to talk about, this would have been within my top 3 of what are you
100%.
doing picks.
100%.
Khair Alam is a second-round talent at best. You needed help at linebacker and defensive end. You had one of those good players. You guys would have beaten that team in the playoffs needed to beat to get to the Super Bowl. That's it. You needed one
two
piece.
Defensive ends. Two Ds are still on the board. They were still there.
You could have literally gone Devontae, Lloyd, or Johnson. Been fine. Hell, maybe even Karlaftis. But Alam? All right. I mean, you guys have drafted a lot of good corners.
You're not even top 5 corner.
Because Tre'Davious White, you drafted him. You drafted Gilmore. Seen plenty of both of them. Good guys. Alam, I don't love this pick. You have a good track record. Doesn't mean I have to trust you on this one.
I don't like it just because he went to Florida. That's my reason. That's all I need.
How about them Cowboys?
Okay, you took a guy. I don't understand this. I don't. This right here, and I'm gonna say this, that the problem with the Cowboys has been defense lately. Your offense is decent enough to get you playing, get you some wins. That y'all was leading the league in points last year. Your defense though, it was some question marks. I think Jermaine Johnson would have been a better pick here. Devontae Wyatt would have been a better pick here. Somebody on defense should have been your pick here. Can you imagine having one of them guys and Micah Parsons?
You would have been loaded.
You'd have been loaded, but okay. It's Jerry. I expect nothing less.
No, Jerry gets what Jerry wants. And let's talk about the GM who's always been great on draft day. How about them Ravens? I mean, you got Hamilton. You waited for him. He fell to you. Then you figured out, hey, we're going to get some extra line help.
What you need.
And they got it in Linderbaum. He's the best lineman left on the board. And they got him at 25? Yeah.
I'm not even mad.
Baltimore.
Because he's a center, and they needed a center, because then they just lose theirs.
I believe they just lost theirs.
But you also lost your number one receiver, so we're going to see how these work out.
It's going to be. He's technically the second wide receiver to Andrews, but I see exactly what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? So
Jermaine Johnson, the second.
This is the guy I wanted. I really want, out of everybody on this board, I wanted either Jermaine Johnson or Devontae Wyatt. I wanted us to trade back, pick up one of them, and I just that's who I wanted. Yes, technically, that's the sixth Georgia player to go in the first round because he did play for us for a year, but he was starting to get swallowed up. He didn't want to be the rotational piece that we've been using, so he did leave. But as far as what you want in a rusher, he has those traits. And again, the Jets they killed it. They killed it. Defensive back, arguably the best defensive back in the draft. One of the best defensive ends in the draft. And you got a solid, arguably one of the top 3 wide receivers in the draft. Okay. Hey, Zach, this your year, man. This year or next year, they draft a quarterback. I'm just putting it out there. I love this pick by them.
Yeah, they did pretty good. And then we got to talk about this. Devin Lloyd, one of 2 linebackers taken in this draft, first round.
Yeah.
Him and Quay. Lloyd was the second linebacker off this board.
And I did say he was a late first round, early second.
I love that the Jaguars wouldn't got him because they have a good history with linebackers. And you put him and Trayvon together. That's a nice combo.
That's gonna be nasty.
I expected them to go to Kobe until I figured out what was going on with him.
Do we
now I can live with this pick. We'll talk about that in the next one. We'll definitely be talking about it. There's no way we're going to know what's going on with the Kobe. But yeah, I don't hate this pick. I personally would have gone with Wyatt if I was them, just so you have that Trayvon Wyatt combo again in the NFL, which is deadly. But hey,
that would have been deadly.
Devin Lloyd, I ain't mad. Great player. Good pick.
Well, since you want to talk about combos, Green Bay would have got another Georgia boy. Now you got 3 because remember they picked up Eric Stokes, and Eric Stokes is hyped about these 2 guys coming in. And why can't you be? Because Devontae Wyatt, oh my God, you talking about a beast. And now you got him with his running mate, Quay, that was behind him. They already know each other. Hey, Green Bay, I know everybody's screaming, Aaron Rodgers. Look, Aaron Rodgers got plenty of offense right now. The problem was the defense. It was gassed. Now, you got some beasts coming. Both of them Georgia boys coming up there. They about to play. So I love this pick for Green Bay. I still don't like the franchise. I still don't like the quarterback. But I love it. I think this is going to be a real solid fit for Devontae.
And now I have to
Shenanigans.
talk about it.
Shenanigans. Because we talked about him.
This is the reach of reaches in this draft.
Wasn't he like my fifth offensive lineman?
He was like your fifth offensive lineman and a third-round talent. And I think the video that leaked of Sean McVay laughing at this,
that made my day,
says everything that it needs to say about it. I don't know why McVay is the one talking. We already beat your ass in the Super Bowl. Pardon my language.
That's because of the quarterback they had. We don't act like it was good, because they golf. Let's not talk about him. Trash.
Cole Strange at 29. Okay, Belichick, you better know what you're doing here, because
he don't. His last couple of drafts have been questionable.
This is a move where we got Mac Jones last year. He gets a pass just on that alone. Cole
Mac
Strange
Jones won a game with throwing some passes. Don't get no pass. You don't get no pass.
We're winning games, and we're not going to be a perennial top 10 pick contender, Atlanta. So
that's only been the last couple of years, Playboy. We've had success with Ryan. I don't know why you acted. Keep on.
He gone. He's a better guy.
Again, the Chiefs, I like that they stayed on the defense, because even though they did lose their top wide receiver, their defense has always been their problem. And I think that's what's kept them from being a dynasty and not a perennial, instead of being a perennial playoff team. And getting George, I kind of like this at this position too, because he was arguably a top 15 player and he slid all the way down. I think you pair him and McDuffie on the outside, and you got all your other players. I think this would be a solid addition. Is it going to be a barn burner? I don't think so, but he's going to give you what you've been missing. And with the rest of their draft, you kind of see how they went, and it's not a bad pick for them. I like it.
And then Daxton Hill to the Bengals. I understand exactly what they were doing here. I think it's a good fit. The Bengals have been very patient in the last couple of drafts, picking the right guys at the right time. I have to trust their front office and what they're doing. They're paying the right people. They're signing the right people. They're saying the right things. They're drafting when they need to. The GM seems to have figured out, currently very much dialed in. I'm not huge on Daxton Hill, but at this spot in the draft, that's
from
the
Super Bowl runner-up. For the Super Bowl runner-up, that's a solid pick.
Yeah. And then you get to talk about the team that traded in.
Let's wrap this up for the surprise of the first round, in my opinion. And that's Louis Singh. I can honestly say that I did not see him being a first-round draft pick. I saw him mid-second at the latest. So thank you, Minnesota. Not for we did DBs and safeties together. He was probably the third best safety on my list, but there were cornerbacks out there that were better, and since we lumped them together, I wasn't going to talk about it. But this feels a need for them, because they're getting a thumper, and he's a good thumper. He's a clean hitter, and that's what we need in the NFL. I grew up old school where clean hits were okay, whatever. As long as your helmet don't come off and you get your face broke, it's a clean hit. He can really diagnose the play very well. And then when he realizes what's going on, he attacks and he drops his shoulder, and his job is to dislodge that ball. And that's what he does. I don't think he ever got kicked out of game for targeting, which is rare for a safety. A lot of safeties every now and then they'll get one. I know our other safety did. I think Louis Singh never did. I might have to check that. But Minnesota, you're getting a steal here. I don't remember where they traded from, but apparently they wanted that bad. Am I mad at the pick? I'm not. He's going to fit in. He's going to give them the guy they need in the back end to help that defense.
Well, we will be back with everyone's draft grade. We'll call our 3 winners, our 3 losers. We'll discuss that in our next video. Until then, don't do that.